All right, good morning, guys. This morning on Zoom, we went over how to tell time and practicing telling time on your two worksheets that are in your Thursday packet for today. I went over half of them with the kids who were on Zoom this morning, so I'll go over the other half with you guys on this video. So let's go ahead and get started here. So on this clock here, the first thing we have to do to tell time is we have to look for the small hand or the short hand first. That's the hour hand. That's going to tell us what number to write first on our clock here. So out of these two hands, this one is shorter, so I'm going to circle it. And it is pointing directly at the number 7. So I'm going to write 7. Then I'm going to look at my minute hand up here. Now it's pointing directly at the 12. We know from what we talked about on Monday that if it's pointing at the 12, we automatically are going to write 0, 0. That means it is 7 o'clock on the dot. Okay? Next one. We always look for the small hand first. This one is shorter. I'm going to circle it. And it's pointing directly at the 3. So I'm going to write 3. Now I'm going to look at my minute hand. Again, it's pointing directly at the 12. I know if it's pointing at the 12, I'm going to write 0, 0. That means it is 3 o'clock. Okay? Let's do the next one here. My small hand. This one is my small hand. I know it's the smaller one because it's not touching the number like our minute hand is up here. So I'm going to circle it. And it's pointing directly at the number 6. So I'm going to write 6. Then my minute hand, it is pointing directly at the 12 again. And we know if it's pointing at the 12, we write 0, 0. So it is 6 o'clock. The next one, look for my small hand first. Here it is. I'm going to circle it. Now this one is between two numbers here. And we talked about this briefly on Monday. If it's between two numbers, you need to write the smaller number. So our two numbers that this hand is in between is the number 5 and the number 6. The number that is smaller is the number 5. So I'm going to write 5. Then my minute hand is pointing directly at the 6. We know from what we talked about on Monday that if the minute hand is pointing directly at the 6, then we have to write 30. So our time is 5:30. The next one, look for our small hand, circle it. It's pointing at the number 2. So I'm going to write 2. Then my minute hand, again, it's pointing at the number 12. So I know I have to write 0, 0. It's 2 o'clock. And our last one here, find our small hand, circle it. This one isn't pointing directly at a number, it's between two numbers. The two numbers it's between is the 4 and the 5. We know we write the smaller number, so out of 4 and 5, the smaller number is 4. So I'll write 4. And then my minute hand is pointing at the 6. We know if it's pointing at the 6, we write 30. So the time is 4:30. Okay? So then, this next page here, I did some with the kids on Zoom this morning. On your test tomorrow, not only are you going to have to look at a clock like these and write the time, but you're also going to get clocks that don't have hands on them, and it's going to tell you what time it is, and you have to draw the hands on the clock. So, the time tells us it's 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. So the first number it tells us is 8. So, my small hand is going to be pointing at the 8 because that's the hour. So I'm going to start in the middle where this dot is. I'm going to draw a small hand and then an arrow at the end of it so that it's pointing at the number 8. Okay? The second part of our time says o'clock. We know from what we've talked about, o'clock means 0, 0, so it's going to be at the 12. So our minute hand will be coming all the way up to the 12 with an arrow pointing directly at it. So it is 8 o'clock. Okay, and if it helps you, put the zeros above it. If that helps you remember where to write or draw your arrows. Okay, So after we've done that, then we will write 8 dot dot 0 0. It's 8 o'clock. Okay? If you guys have any other questions about how to do time, you can let your parents know. I will Zoom with you if that's what you need, if you need extra help. But don't hesitate to ask your parents or myself for help. That's what we're here for. The only other thing that we did in our Zoom meeting this morning is we went over sight words and we practiced our spelling words. So I highly encourage you to do that so that you do well on your test tomorrow. And so tomorrow you have 3 grades. That is your spelling test, like always, your math test, which is 2 pages, and then you have your story of the week test over sky color. All right, guys, I will see y'all on Monday.